Melbourne. This Sunday, the Black Ferns play their second pool match of the Women's Rugby World Cup against Wales at Waitakere Stadium here in Tāmaki, Makaurau. Joining me this morning to preview that test as well as celebrate the success of the women's game, I'm really proud and grateful to be sitting alongside a lineup of powerhouse women, not only pioneers of the sport, but more than impressive away from the field. Black Fern number 83, 4 times World Cup winner, financial advisor Mona Lisa Urquhart. Black Fern number 69, 2 times World Cup winner, general manager of sport and events here at TVNZ, Melody Robinson, and one of our most respected sports broadcasters and author of Seven Sisters, Ricky Swanell. Morena kia koutou.
Morena.
So good to have you here this morning. Mel, can I start with you? Because you're on the board of this Rugby World Cup, this Women's Rugby World Cup. Is this everything you wanted it to be or that you envisioned?
So Rugby World Cup Limited oversees it, but interestingly it's the New Zealand Organising Committee that really drives it. And so you have to give credit to Dame Julie Christie and Michelle Hooper. This was their vision. Julie said to me 2 years ago, I want to sell out Eden Park on day one. And she knew that to do that, you have to put music there, different types of activations and get the families there. That's exactly what they did. So I'm so proud of both of those women for driving that. And yeah, we were pretty emotional during that week because we never thought it would ever be so big, and it's just so wonderful to see.
Yeah, actually, I know that you were quite emotional on that.
I'm sookie anyway, can I just clarify? But yeah, like numerous times throughout that opening day, I'd go out to concourse, I was like, oh, all the people are here.
So, Ricky, you commentated that game. What was that like, right from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really privileged I get the best seat in the house week in, week out, but there was just something in the air throughout that whole day. In fact, like even from that very first game, France, South Africa, and I started to see people coming in, I was like, they're coming. And then it just built and built and built, and throughout that, till getting to that Black Ferns game, I don't think anyone's seen a haka like it. It was spine-tingling in the truest sense of it. The poi in the crowd. I mean, at 17-0 down for the Black Ferns, I mean, the tournament might have flashed before a few people's eyes, but then the way they performed, they stayed out there for 10:30, some of them got back to the sheds. It was just like this culmination of an incredible night, and you get that feeling when, you know, what it's like, the red light goes on, you're like, oh, wow, we're part of something really special here.
Yeah. Mona Lisa, you were there as well in the crowd. What was that like?
Actually, I was doing radio commentary last second. I took a job really last second, and
You'd had 2 drinks too.
only 2, it's 3 max,
Would have been
the
your
whole
best work,
day,
your
and
best
I was
work.
really nervous about it. But I had the poi, and I was just going round and round, and it was just. There was that electrifying energy, and even with them adding the karanga, because I was there, you know, in my head mentally doing the haka with them as well, and it was just, my heart was just beating at the beginning. So even as a former player, like you got caught up in it, but you just felt like one with them on the journey.
Now you guys, and I forgive me because I'm going to age you a little bit here, but the 90s, right? End of the 90s, let's say, that you two were playing.
Yeah.
Again, if you look back on what you guys were doing back then and you see it now, I mean, could you have ever dreamed or believed it would be this way?
Yes, but to be there and actually see it and feel it with, you know, I had my husband there was a lot of reunions, and the whole energy, even everyone was just on the Facebook, on WhatsApp, like, let's just support our women, but also support what we had done as well, and those that had gone past.
Yeah, and you know what? It should be like this because they play amazing rugby. It's different to the All Blacks. It adds to that whole rugby attractiveness, and they're great talent. They're good people. It's just, I'm stoked that we're finally there.
What was it like? What was it like playing back in the 90s? In comparison today, you know, they've got flash uniforms.
Streakers, we've had...
We played in Amsterdam, Barcelona, really weird, unusual places.
And then it was Twickenham.
Crappy hotels.
Yes. We lived with the Welsh one time, and they were fun.
Yeah, they did a cultural exchange.
These guys can actually tell at this time of day.
Yeah, I agree.
They kidnapped our mascot at the time, which was a little Kiwi. We called her Shiwi, and they sent us a VHS video. This is 1998, and they were beating our shiwi. She was all tied up.
They wanted a
little things like
jersey. So we did a cultural exchange, and of course we made our team room into a marae, and we took their shoes. And they refused to give them back. So it's 2 days, and they had family and friends that turned up that didn't have shoes for 2 days. And we're in 2 hours out of Amsterdam sort of thing in Lowsden. It was fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys could tell these stories all morning. Ricky, I want to talk about, and because I think that we can take this theme through to all three of you. When you started commentating, because Mel, you were the first female, right, to commentate around the world on rugby. But Ricky, when you stepped into that space and it was a female voice, sideline commentating, what was the pushback like?
Depends how much social media I chose to read at the time, and that's a big part of it. And you guys know, I sort of started, the more games I was doing and the more high profile games I was doing, the more I pulled back from social media, because I find it a really generally negative space anyway, and I just didn't need to hear people's opinion about me and my commentary, because there's enough doubt in what you're doing anyway, right? I must say I've always been, particularly got the guys and some of our World Rugby crew that work with the international guys have been so supportive, and there's always been people like these two and a whole lot of other women who have kind of like been the little cheerleaders behind. But look, I've been in media 20 years now, and the idea that 4 women, 3 Māori women, would sit and talk about a Rugby World Cup on a primetime TV show. 5 years ago, that didn't happen at the Women's World Cup. And look how far we've come in, I think, in the 5 years since the 2017 tournament to here, let alone from, when we were all starting out in media. So, there has been pushback, and there always will be, but every commentator gets that, and I think I've got to a point now where I'm like, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Wow.
And you can't be, and you can't try and please those people, but you kind of take the feedback from the people that you respect. And as I always say, you can't put the words back in your mouth afterwards, so you kind of got to carry on, right? So,
what was it like for you, Mel?
Oh, very tough, very tough. Again, I had a couple of really supportive people. Andrea McVeigh was my producer at the time. She was amazing, and the crew was great. So, while there were pockets of resistance, there were other people who were absolutely there for you and wanting you to achieve. And the thing with Ricky is she's play-by-play, she's first voice. A lot of females' roles were often the colour or sideline. Yeah, but now we're in significant roles. I'm second voice, Mona does second voice, and board positions as well. So, gee, things have changed, haven't they? They can't get rid of us now.
I probably wouldn't have got through without the support of cam ops, soundies, DAs, production managers who welcomed me at times when perhaps other members of the crew didn't. Those behind the scenes people absolutely were like rocks for me at various times.
Mona Lisa, can we talk about the launch of what rugby has done for you, the lessons that you learnt from that to be able to take you into your financial career? I mean, you've done some incredible blooming things.
She had to learn to turn up on time first. That was the first thing.
Yes, you and the girls definitely helped with that. There's so many transformative sort of, disciplines as well. So I retired and I went into management for a little bit with Anna Richards with the Auckland women's team for the Go for Gold, Go for Rio campaign, and I just didn't want a bar of rugby after that. And then when I came back into the fold, it was I'd watched them at France World Cup. That was disappointing, obviously. And then 2017, and then all of a sudden I get this call up from Sky to go, do some commentary. And at that time, I'd started bringing myself back into rugby. I'm on the board of the New Zealand Barbarians now, helping out with women and children, women and girls. And it felt right. I'm a new mother as well. And it's reinventing myself, I guess, and finding the love back into rugby, because it was a big part of the career. But with the financial stuff, it's great because I guess what transforms there is actually I have had a massive career beforehand and I'm new in the space. But again, financial planning is all about people and it's about connection and future planning as well, which I've done in rugby. So it's just with numbers.
Mel, I've heard you talk about rugby basically changing your life. I mean, we can talk about rugby, we can talk about media, we can talk about your MBA, we can talk about your BA, we can talk about everything that you've done. But actually, it's those lessons we get in sport, right, that can catapult you into believing that you can do these things.
Yeah, you have an overarching strategic intent to win, but underneath that, all your objectives are underlined by values, and the values for the Black Ferns are honesty, discipline, so hardworking, and being brave, kia maia, courage, and it's still one of the key values of the Black Ferns now, because you have to have a lot of courage to go out there and, I don't know, play in front of all of those people, be free, and represent, you know, your whānau and nation. So, yep, that has helped me a lot, and I've needed a lot of help.
I didn't say that, you said that. Ricky, you wrote a book, Seven Sisters. So this is more towards the Sevens girls, which obviously some of them are playing in this 15s game as well. And it's about the transformation of that game and those players as well. When you reflect back on that book and the things that you learnt over that time, talk to me about those amazing women.
Oh my gosh, I got the greatest insight to 23 of the best athletes in the country, and not just the best people. And talking about the Go for Gold that Mona Lisa was involved in, that's where some of them started. And I got to spend hours chatting to them. A lot of it was over Zoom, but their sense of what they are doing, I don't know if they fully have grasped the significance of what they've done yet, but they're starting to get it, and they understand their greater role, but they're still grateful too. Like some of the ones who've been around the while, like, oh no, I was just happy to get a free pair of boots, you know, like stuff like that. But their will to succeed, their ability to learn and to grow, to have tough conversations, I think there's plenty of information, even for like businesses and management, and that cultural side of what makes a really good team unit, and that culture underpins everything that they did, and it was, you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows and lollipops, but we're seeing that now. You know, there was some criticism perhaps of some of the Sevens players coming in for this World Cup, but I think we saw on the weekend what Sarah Hirini, what Stacey Flula, the influence that they had on that team is incredible, that big game temperament, but also just that absolute high performance mentality.
We've got about 30 seconds left, so I suppose we should talk about Wales on Sunday. Okay, so I mean, we've never lost to them, so we're going to be all right.
Yeah. Should be a good win for the Black Ferns. Wales have lost one of their key players to a really serious injury, which sucks too, but should be, I think, a more settled performance.
France, England's the one you should watch.
Please tomorrow,
right?
Please
buy some tickets at Whangarei. Get up there. That will be amazing. And England, you heard it right here, are only using their same starting 15 every single weekend. So all of the girls who are outside that group, can you imagine how hard that would be for you?
Yeah,
being
physically.
Here for 6 weeks.
They're number one, right? So
that game would be an absolute ripper.
Yeah,
absolute ripper. Definitely England tough, but yeah,
France could do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask you, are we going to win?
Yes.
Yes.
We will. Yes. Okay. Off the back of last week as well, nerves are gone. They've had their first game. They're back into business.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mona Lisa, Mel, Ricky, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure to be sitting beside the three of you. Really.